While most of us probably know the stories of Frodo and Bilbo Baggins, with Frodo trying to throw the one true ring into the fiery depths of Mount Doom, Amazon's The Lord of the Rings Rings of Power takes a look into the past, taking us back to a time before hobbits even existed. Showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay are bringing Tolkien's Middle-earth Second Age to the small screen. Since then, we've heard numerous mentions of Morgoth, so let's take a look into who he even is. First of all, who is Morgoth? While the show is placed thousands of years before Peter Jackson's The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings movies, some familiar faces made it back into the script to join the ride. Among these are much younger versions of Elrond and Galadriel, with continuous whispers of Sauron. A lot of fans would remember him as a giant eye in the sky from the original trilogy, but here he's not yet the Dark Lord and is instead serving his master Morgoth. But who exactly is this Morgoth, and what does his existence mean for the fantasy series? He's considered Middle-earth's version of Satan, for anyone who might be unfamiliar with Tolkien's universe. Morgoth was originally called Melkor and was part of the Ainur, holy ones that were the first beings to live on this version of Earth, also known as Arda. The Ainur were made by Lúvatar, but his power made Morgoth jealous and he started to retaliate in an attempt to take control of it. In Sindarin, one of the many languages that Tolkien created, Morgoth quite literally translates to Black Foe or Dark Enemy, and he does live up to that title. As Lúvatar called upon the Ainur to sing and form Arda, Morgoth decided to rebel and sing his own song, ending up with him getting eternally punished. All of the Ainur were attracted to different parts of the world. Morgoth was most interested in extremes, such as scorching heat, bitter cold, and brutal violence. This proved to be the start of his evil path. After Arda was created, he would corrupt every single thing that he touched, and even make dark creatures such as the Balrogs. Morgoth then proceeded to put up his fortress and corrupt elves into breeding a new kind of evil being, orcs. Moreover, his many attempts to rule. Despite his infinite meddlings in Middle-earth, his attempts didn't last, and he ended up going to war with the Valar. He was unable to win and completely dominate Arda, so he decided that he wanted to destroy them and stop Valar from ever progressing further. This was their first war with the Dark Lord that ended in him losing and the Valar winning and finally completing Arda. While they might have won this battle, Morgoth eventually added spies to the Valyrian ranks to gather intel. As they completed their world and were celebrating it with a party of sorts, he attacked, knowing fully well that they'd be caught off guard. The Valar were able to see his touch across their world and nature. He ended up disrupting the balance of the entire world as he destroyed Almarin, where they lived. He had escaped before they could find him, plus they had to try to save their world as well. This led them to building Valinor and its trees that lit up the whole world. Before he established himself in the north, he wandered around Middle-earth, causing all kinds of problems, creating monsters, and building a forest that he gave to his most loyal follower, Sauron. As the Valar continued to try to completely eradicate Morgoth, they only saw failure. They didn't have the necessary forces, and his power and resources continued to grow. Furthermore, Morgoth and the Silmarils. This was just the start of the battles between both Morgoth and the Valar, and it further continued into what we know as the Battle of Power. During this, the Valar managed to capture him, but he cunningly started to beg for pardon, saying that he's reformed. His brother Manwë ended up letting go, and as a surprise to no one, he once again returned to his evil ways, obviously nowhere near reformed. And even during his capture, he used that time to spread his influence among the elves in an attempt to plot revenge. He found out about the Silmarils, 3 stunningly beautiful and powerful gems that Fëanor had been creating, and he stole them. He purely focused his attempts at Fëanor and tried his best to make him question the Valar and join his side. This tactic of extreme manipulation worked for a long time, and while Fëanor eventually managed to get a hold of himself, it was too late. Melkor became Morgoth as he destroyed the 2 trees of Valinor that were the source of light in the Undying Realm, assassinated the High King of the Noldor Elves, and stole the Silmarils. To hold these gems, he made a special crown. This began a long war fought between him and the elves that went on for most of the First Age, resulting in countless elves dying. The War of the Jewels was so catastrophic that an entire piece of Arda's map sank deep into the ocean. Moreover, what happened to him? This is where Sauron comes into the mix as Morgoth's most loyal general, who he appointed to lead one of the biggest fortresses called Angband. Not only did he have an army of dragons and werewolves at his side, but also several houses of men whom he manipulated into joining him. Charlie Vickers' Halbrand tells Galadriel that he's nowhere near the hero that she's looking for, as he's the descendant of one of these traitorous houses. We've heard the War of Wrath mentioned many times in Rings of Power, and it seems to be a huge deal. The half-elf Irindil, Elrond's father, ended up successfully capturing Morgoth at Angband and turned his crown that held all of the Silmarils into one collar. The demonic deity was then thrown down the Door of Night and locked away forever in the Timeless Void in what seems to be his final defeat. But all of us know Sauron continued his master's work, leading to all the events that we see in the original trilogy and will be seen in new episodes of the show as well. Next up, let's take a look at Morgoth and and Sauron. Morgoth's most powerful lieutenant and right-hand man is of course Sauron, an extremely powerful Maiar, who saw that Morgoth was branching out on his own instead of obeying his creator and found it brave, swearing his loyalty to him forever. Sauron is able to change his appearance, which helped him gain influence among the elves and eventually attack them. He was trusted by Morgoth more than anyone. When the War of Wrath was lost by the Dark Lord, Sauron tried to continue his legacy and mission of taking over Middle-earth, a mission Morgoth could never complete. He gathered up all of his servants, such as orcs and other creatures that would rebel against Lúvatar, and we know what happened next. Though, as we found out on the show, Morgoth left a backup plan for Sauron to continue his work and destroy the Southlands to create a new land where only evil would thrive. Finally, will he return? The War of Wrath marks the first time Valar itself got involved in the whole debacle, bringing about a suitable end to the First Age. Although Rings of Power is portraying a completely new age, it doesn't necessarily mean that old ghosts won't be haunting our characters. Just as Sauron had the Witch King of Angmar, Morgoth had Sauron, and Sauron was an overarching evil throughout the original trilogy, so we can fully expect the same from Morgoth. It was assumed that evil had vanished from Arda since he fled from the war and hid in Middle-earth for so long. Though we know that isn't true. What good would the show be without a villain? We've already gotten to see Galadriel out to get revenge against Sauron since he killed her brother, so he's probably going to be the main villain for now. Although with time, there might be bigger powers at play that are revealed. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you think that Morgoth will make his return this season? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.